class for your chapter number 1, size and location. In this chapter, in the previous class we had referred to location of India. Today we will be talking about size of India in comparison with the other countries of the world. Let's have a look. In the given world map, you can see that 10 countries are being highlighted, which are the top 10 largest countries by its area. In this chapter, we will be seeing the ranking of India in regard to the area it covers around the world. The total landmass of India, or the area covered by India, accounts to be 3.28 million square kilometer, which means the outline boundary of India, or the area covered of the mainland of the country, accounts to be 3.28 million square kilometers. Now, what is the accountability of this area around the world? If I compare the area of the country with the rest of the world, India's land boundary or the mainland accounts to be occupying 2.4% of the world geographical area. Now let's see the ranking of the top 10 countries, out of which India stands to be on the 7th rank. Can you see the ranking here? The 7 top largest countries of the world in regard to its area are being given in this picture. Starting from Russia, Canada, USA, China, Brazil, Australia, followed by India. The total area of India accounts to be 7th in its ranking in regard to its area. So if I am supposed to learn the area of India or the area ranking in terms of India, I can always remember RCUCBAI. Again I repeat, RCUCBAI. Always remember that C, initial one is Canada and the next one is China. So with this mnemonics, you will be able to learn the countries who are larger in terms of area in comparison to India. Furthermore, we will be able to compare the land and the sea boundary. The total land boundary of India, which it shares with the neighboring country, accounts to be 15,200 kilometers. Yes, how much is it? 15,200 kilometers. In comparison, the sea boundary, or the boundary that the Indian coastline is shared by sea, accounts to be 7,516.6 kilometers. Yes, it accounts to be 7,516.6 kilometer. So we can memorize this. Furthermore, the comparison of the distance between the western and the eastern edge of the country and the northern and the southern edge of the country can be in regard to the total distance covered. The amount of distance covered between the western and the eastern edge accounts to be 2,933 kilometers, whereas from the northern to the southern extent, the area or the length covered is 3,214 kilometers. Thus, if I will be summarizing the topic for size of India, I need to keep these pointers in mind. Firstly, India stands to be the 7th largest country of the world in regard to its area. Yes. The total area of India accounts to be 3.28 million square kilometers. The world geographical area that India occupies with reference to the other countries is 2.4% of the world geographical area. The northern to southern extension accounts to be 3,214 kilometers, whereas the eastern to western extension accounts to be 2,933 kilometers of length. The land frontier or the boundary of the mainland shared with the neighboring countries accounts to be 15,200 kilometers, whereas the coastline of India accounts to be 7,516 516.6 kilometer, which has been rounded off here and written as 7,517 kilometers. Right. So in the importance of the location at the head of Indian Ocean, we can see that in Asia, India basically has a central location. That is, it is centrally located between the West and the East Asia. Now, what importance does India get because of it? As you can see, the southern part of India is been protruding out in the Indian Ocean. So we have a long coastline on the west as well as a longer coastline in the east. So when I have been talking about the trade, automatically trade connectivity to the different countries becomes easier. So it is very easy for me to connect to European countries and Africa through the western coast of India, and through the eastern coast it is easier for me to connect to Asian and the southern eastern Asian countries. Another important reason for India to gain its importance with regard to its location is that it is majorly covering the most portion of the ocean. As the long coastline of India occupies a great area coverage into the ocean, India is the only country after which the name of the ocean is being kept. Yes, and that is all because of the long coastline that India covers in the southern part of the ocean. So as we conclude over the points, we can refer to that first, India has been centrally located between East and West Asia. Second, routes across the Indian Ocean helps to connect with the countries of Europe in the west and the countries of East Asia. The Deccan Peninsula, which has been protruding out in the south of the mainland, helps to connect with West Asia, Africa, Europe from the western coast, and Southeast and East Asian countries from the eastern coast. Next, Indian Ocean has no other country which has a long coastline, because of which India has been the only country that has got its name into the ocean. The last very important factor I wanted to mention is that Suez Canal was constructed in 1869, and which was a major turnover in the trade purposes, where India was supposed to take a longer turn from the Cape of Good Hope to the European countries. The opening of Suez Canal, as you can see in the given picture, helped to reduce the distance between India and connectivity between the European countries. So that's all for when you're talking about the importance of the ocean. The second most important aspect talks about the land routes. Now, much before the oceanic routes were being developed and found out or discovered, there were land routes. Now, these land routes have been the major medium for connectivity among the people, exchange of ideas and commodities since ancient time. So let's have a look how the land routes have been important to us. Land routes have been much older than the sea routes. Various passes across the mountains in the north have provided the passages to the ancient travelers to enter into the mainland. The land routes have helped in the exchange of ideas and commodities since the ancient times, right? So what have the ideas and commodities been that became a part of the country? Ideas of Upanishads, the Ramayana, stories of Panchatantra, numerical system and the decimal system. All these have reached out of the country to the rest of the world through these land routes only. And what has India got in return? Let's have a look. The influence of the Greek sculptures, the architectural style of domes and minarets from West Asia are all the things that you can see it in your own country. So as we have given Upanishads, Ramayana, Panchatantra to the world, in return the people who came to the country have left a mark in form of domes, minarets or sculptures. So that's called for the importance of the land routes. So as we end with the chapter, let's get into some facts. Do you know that the southern point of India is Indira Point? Yes, it's not Kanyakumari, it is Indira Point. In 2004 tsunami, Indira Point got submerged. So, which is the southern point now? Yes, the southern point till date also remains Indira Point. In the recent study, it has been told that it is gradually emerging out of the water once again. Second, since the opening of used by 7,000 kilometers, it's a very big achievement, in fact, which you have been familiar with. Before 1947, there were two types of states in India. One was a province, the second one was a princely state. Provinces were ruled by the British officials who were appointed by the Viceroy. You must have heard about it. Whereas princely states were ruled by local or hereditary rulers who acknowledged the sovereignty in return for the local autonomy. One interesting fun fact to add by the end of your chapter is the rotation of the earth. As we know that there are 24 hours in a day, but how do we know that? Let's have a look. We know that the vertical lines running around the earth are the imaginary lines known as longitudes. Now we have 360 longitudinal lines around the earth. The prime meridian is the 0 degree longitude. Towards the west we have 180 longitudes, and towards the east we have another 180 longitudes, which accounts to be 360 longitudes. Now when I recall from my previous class that the time taken by sun to travel from one longitude to another is 4 minutes. So I do a simple calculation here. I multiply those 4 minutes into the 360 longitudes. And what do I get? 1440 minutes, which accounts to be how many hours? Yes, it is 24 hours. And that is how we get to know that the day we calculate has 24 hours. So with this, we end with the chapter India, Size and Location. Size and Location. Today, we will be touching on one of the topics with the help of an interesting activity. So let's have a look. In this chapter, we will be talking today about India and its neighboring countries, and we will be doing with the help of an activity. So here we can see the mainland of India is touching its land boundary with a number of countries. If I begin with northwestern part of India, we have Pakistan and Afghanistan. In the northern part of India, as you can see, Nepal, Bhutan, while in the east we have Bangladesh and Myanmar. In the southern part of India, we have two island neighboring countries in the western part and the eastern. In the southwestern part, we have the islands of Maldives, while in the southeastern part, we have Sri Lanka. So how are we supposed to learn this? Today, we will see that. Okay, students. So what do we see here? Yes, Pac-Man. Pac-Man is a video game. It's one of the most popular video games which is quite familiar with all age groups. So how is this Pac-Man going to help us today? Let's have a look. Say if we are seeing that a girl is playing Pac-Man. So can we say Miss Pac-Man? Okay, let's have a look. So we have Miss Pac-Man. What we are going to do here is that the girl playing here is Miss Pac-Man. In this letters of writing Miss Pac-Man, I am going to strike off A from the man, and instead I am going to write two B's. One in the front of N and the other one in the back side. So what do we get? Miss Pac MBNB. Now how these letters are going to help us learn with the neighboring countries of India? Let's have a look. M stands for Maldives, S Sri Lanka, P for Pakistan, A for Afghanistan, C for China, M for Myanmar, B for Bhutan, N for Nepal, and B for Bangladesh. So if I want to remember the neighboring countries of India, I can always remember Miss Pac-Man. And in that, I need to just remove the A and instead write two B's. This mnemonics will help me to remember the neighboring countries of India. Thus, If we are talking about the neighboring countries, we have 9 major neighboring countries of India. Starting from the northwest, we have Pakistan and Afghanistan. In the northern part of India, we have China, Nepal, Bhutan. In the east, we have Myanmar and Bangladesh, while the south islands of the neighboring countries, we have Sri Lanka in the southeast and Maldives in the southwest. Thus, we will be able to remember all the 9 neighboring countries with the help of this small activity. Thus, we will be talking about one of the most important characteristics defining the change in the amount of sunlight received, that is, difference between day and night felt at Kashmir and not at Kanyakumari. So, here today we will be talking about the importance of the extent of India, the latitudinal extent and the longitudinal extent. What the latitudinal extent helps us in? It helps us to identify the difference in the amount of sunlight received to the southern edge of India and to the northern edge. So hence it helps us to find out the difference between the day and night. On the other hand, we have the longitudinal extent of India. The longitudinal extent of India helps us to identify the time difference, which we will be doing in the next class. Importance of the latitudinal extent of India. In the given picture, as you can see, the amount of sun rays falling on the earth. Earth is tilted on its axis. We all are aware about it. So what happens is, due to the tilting of the earth, the amount of sun rays falling on the earth varies. Amount of sun rays received near the equator, as you can see, is direct. As we move away from the equator towards the poles, the amount of sunlight becomes slanting or indirect. So, if I am talking about the poles, the amount of sunlight will be received is least, while the most amount of sunlight received is towards the equator. Secondly, we will be talking about the heat zones of the earth. I hope you can recall from class 6. The zone between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn can be called as tropics, tropical zone or the torrid zone, while from Tropic of Cancer to the Arctic Circle and the Tropic of Capricorn to the Antarctic Circle is known as the temperate zone, while towards the poles we have the frigid zone. So now we need to see how it has been affecting the climate of India. As you know the location of India by now, the Tropic of Cancer passes through the center of the country. So firstly, if I need to recall the amount of sunlight received from the first diagram, I can very well correlate that the southern part of India receives direct sunlight, while the northern part receives slanting amount of sunlight. Secondly, from the second diagram, if I correlate, the southern part of India lies in the tropical zone, while the northern part lies in the temperate zone. So instead of saying it completely temperate, as it is very close to the tropicals, we also called it as subtropics. So southern part of India lies in the tropical zone and the northern part lies in the subtropics. Now, this amount of difference in the sunlight causes a difference between day and night in Kashmir and Kanyakumari. The difference between the durations of day and night is hardly felt at Kanyakumari, where the difference between day and night is almost equal. While as we are moving away from the equator towards Kashmir lying in the subtropical zone. So Kashmir is far away from the equator and the amount of sun rays are also indirect. Thus, the difference between day and night is felt at Kashmir, whereas at Kanyakumari the amount of day and night is almost similar. Following the points to remember, we can see that the latitudinal extent of India is quite important because it helps us to identify the difference between day and night. India has a vast latitudinal extent from 8 degrees 4 minutes north to 37 degrees 6 minutes north. The Tropic of Cancer passes through the middle of the country, dividing it into two equal halves.
also dividing it into tropical as well as the subtropical zone. Kanyakumari lies in the tropical belt, very close to the equator. Therefore, the duration of day and night is not felt. While moving away from the equator, Kashmir, lying in the subtropical zone, experiences the difference between day and night. Thus, we can say that the latitudinal extent of India is very important for us to identify the difference between day and